You know, when you think Home Alone, you think like and booby traps, right?
Classic.
Total classic. But this deep dive request that came in, it actually goes way deeper than that with this analysis. And let me tell you, I am here for it. So get ready to see this Christmas classic in a whole new light.
Absolutely. It's amazing how a film that's, so funny and so familiar can also be this kind of window into these really complex family dynamics,
Right.
childhood anxieties.
Right.
Even, the idea of facing your fears, it's all in there.
Okay, so the analysis makes this point, and it's so true, that Home Alone is more than just slapstick. And don't get me wrong, I love a good Marv tumbling down the stairs moment as much as the next person.
Oh, for sure.
But what always gets me, and what really struck me when I was reading this, is how the film kind of gets you in the feels.
Yeah.
Right? From that very first scene, that chaotic opening scene. Seriously, have you ever noticed how stressed out the McCallisters seem just trying to get out the door?
It's true. And what's clever is how all that, over-the-top chaos actually highlights this kind of deeper emotional disconnect within the family.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Kevin's lost in the shuffle, almost literally invisible at times.
It's true.
And it's like his wish for his family to disappear. It's not just a silly kid thought. It's more like an expression of feeling unheard and unseen.
Which, let's be honest, who hasn't felt that way in their family at some point?
Oh, 100%.
Right. But then the tables turn and Kevin gets exactly what he wished for. He's on his own.
He gets what he wished for, but not how we thought it would be.
Exactly. And at first, it's all fun and games, right? He's jumping on the beds, eating mountains of ice cream.
Living the dream.
But the source makes this interesting point, this fascinating point about how Kevin's journey is actually one of kind of unexpected responsibility and growth.
Exactly. He goes from this pure freedom to realizing, oh, wait a minute, someone's got to keep this house from falling apart.
Right.
He's budgeting, he's grocery shopping, he's even facing down that creepy furnace in the basement.
Speaking of that furnace, oh my gosh, I used to fast forward through that part when I was a kid. Way too scary.
Yeah.
But the source really opened my eyes to how brilliantly the film uses that, that furnace, as this visual metaphor for all the fears Kevin's dealing with.
Yeah. It's like that furnace represents the fear of being alone, the fear of the unknown, maybe even the fear of his family not coming back.
Right, right.
And it's interesting because the film doesn't shy away from those darker emotions, even though it's a comedy at heart.
And it's not just Kevin who's wrestling with those feelings either, right? We have old man Marley next door.
Oh, yeah.
At first, he seems like this grumpy, isolated figure.
Yeah.
But as the source points out, he's actually on his own journey of facing fear and seeking connection, just like Kevin.
It's a really clever parallel. You wouldn't think an 8-year-old and a grumpy old man would have much in common, but they're both grappling with loneliness, that fear of rejection, that deep down need for connection, no matter your age.
That's so true.
And that leads to one of my favorite scenes in the film, the conversation in the church.
Oh man, that scene gets me every time.
It's so powerful. You have young Kevin, who's going through so much himself, offering advice and comfort to Marley. He even encourages him to reconcile with his estranged son. It's like this beautiful reminder that sometimes the most unexpected people can offer wisdom and support.
It's like even when we're going through our own stuff, we can still find the strength to reach out and connect with others.
Yeah.
But you know who's not so big on connecting? Our favorite bumbling burglars, Harry and Marv.
Ah, yes, the wet bandits.
The wet bandits.
They might seem like, purely comedic villains just there for the slapstick and the pratfalls.
Right.
But the source, actually, it got me thinking about them in a new light.
Okay.
They kind of represent these, external challenges that Kevin has to overcome. These obstacles that force him to, dig deep and find his inner strength.
It's true. They're bigger, they're older, they're coming at him with all this brute force.
Right.
But Kevin, he outwits them at every turn.
He does.
He's resourceful, he's quick thinking, and he uses those qualities to kind of triumph over that intimidation.
Totally.
It's like a David and Goliath story.
It is.
But with way more paint cans and feather plumes.
Right, exactly. And it really drives home this idea that intelligence and resilience can be just as powerful as, actual physical strength.
Yeah.
Kevin's not afraid to get creative, to use his surroundings to his advantage. In a way, he's kind of teaching us that we all have the power to outsmart the bullies we might encounter in life, whatever form they may take.
And that moment when he finally does outsmart them and his family comes home to find the house completely upside down, well, let's just say it wouldn't be a Christmas classic without that heartwarming ending.
It's true. Like you said, no matter how many times you've seen it, that reunion between Kevin and his mom
Yeah.
still gets you.
Oh, totally gets me a little choked up.
It does, and it speaks to this kind of universal truth about, the enduring power of family.
It does.
The McCallisters might be loud and chaotic,
Mm.
always squabbling and driving each other crazy.
Oh, for sure.
But underneath it all, there's this deep well of love. They need each other, even when they're driving each other up the wall.
Right.
And that's a really comforting thought, especially around the holidays.
It is. It is. It's like that scene reminds us that even when we make mistakes, even when we get caught up in the holiday chaos, those family bonds are pretty unbreakable.
Yeah.
But this deep dive got me thinking. The source focuses mainly on the original Home Alone,
Right.
but there are, all those sequels. Do you think those films continue to explore these kind of deeper themes, or do they lean more into the slapstick? I'm honestly curious to hear what you think.
That's a great question. It really is.
Mm.
It makes you wonder, do those sequels capture that same, magic?
Right, like
Yeah.
that balance of humor and heart that made the original so special?
Exactly.
Or do they go in a totally different direction? Because we see Kevin in the first film, he goes through this incredible arc of growth and self-discovery.
Oh.
He faces his fears, he learns to be responsible, he even helps Marley reconnect with his son.
Mm-hmm.
So it really makes you think, does Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, does it kind of pick up where we left off?
Right.
Is it still about something, kind of deeper?
Right.
Or is it mostly just about Kevin, running amok in New York City with his dad's credit card?
Yeah, and that's what I love about revisiting those films with this kind of new perspective.
Oh, really?
You pick up on things that you might have missed before.
Right.
Those subtle details that kind of add these layers to the story.
Right, exactly.
And you might even find yourself relating to the characters in a whole new way.
Oh, totally. It's like that gift that keeps on giving, but maybe with a few less paint cans to the face.
Definitely fewer paint cans.
Yeah. Well, on that note, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive into Home Alone.
It has.
I mean, you sent in a request for a classic holiday film analysis, and look where we ended up.
Right. It's amazing.
We uncovered so much more.
So much more.
And it's true. It's like you said, even the most familiar stories can surprise us with their depth and their insight if we're willing to look a little closer. So true. So true.
So to everyone listening, here's something to think about. Think about your favorite holiday movie, the one you watch every single year, and ask yourself, what would happen if you watched it through the lens of this deep dive? What hidden layers might you uncover? What new insights might you find?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, everyone, keep those thinking caps on, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.